Rock and Roll Geek Show 757.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Tuesday, January 31st, 2017, when I'm recording this show, and it is 7:47 p.m. on episode 757 of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I just figured I would get back on the horse after all the very, very positive response from the last episode. I will read some of those positive responses later on in the show, but now I figure it's best to just get back on the horse, and even if you don't have a topic to talk about, get back on the horse. Otherwise, you're going to be shell-shocked. So that's what I'm going to do tonight, friends. I'm going to get back on the horse and play some rock and roll and maybe read a couple of hate mails and nice emails and maybe an audio comment or two. We will see. First off, I'm going to play a song that is, there was a band that I used to really like called the Fags. They put out a record, I think it was supposed to come out on Capitol Records, and they got dropped before the record came out. They had this record called Light 'Em Up, which was one of my favorite albums. And I heard that they reunited. Somebody sent me an email saying that they had reunited and they were doing a new album on Pledge Music. And the first thing, I immediately went on Pledge Music and pledged I bought the album. I pre-ordered it on Pledge Music. And this week, the album came out. So I'm going to start off with a song from that album. The album is called I'm With Her. By the way, you should look for that Light 'Em Up album. It's really good. You can also get that remastered on their Pledge Music page, which I will post on a link on rockandrollgeek.com. That is a great album, top to bottom. So the new album is called I'm With Her. I have not given it a really strong listen yet. There's a lot of covers on this album. They do a Ted Nugent cover. They do Motor City Madhouse. They're a total power pop band. And they have really super catchy tunes. They do a pop version of Motor City Madhouse. They do Iron Maiden's Power Slave. They do Tomboy, which is a romantic song. One or two other covers. The song I'm going to play, though, is my favorite song on the album, and it is also a cover. It is a cover that I believe it's a cover of this band called Watershed. When I was looking to see who did this for the original, I discovered this band Watershed and realized that I had two songs on my iTunes. I don't know, somebody may have sent them to me a long time ago, and I never really listened to them. But Watershed is a great band from Columbus, Ohio. I think I'll play something from Watershed later on the show. But this is a cover of a Watershed song called Black Bootleg Concert T-Shirt. I believe that's what it's called. This song, and this is the Fags covering it. So here you go.
My soul's got serious traction. Oh, better still to get some action. Your mama calls us misfits, but baby, you don't give two shits. You sure care about her anyway. She's got a
There you go. That's the facts. Covering Watershed. I think Watershed wrote the song. I know Watershed plays the song, and I'm assuming that they wrote it. If anybody has any Watershed, because I know nothing about that band except they're from Columbus, and I started watching a bunch of YouTube videos and started looking for their music, and I actually purchased something on Amazon, which turned out to be a live album. Which I don't want the live album. I wanted a studio album. If anybody has any Watershed, they could not send me, because that would just be wrong. Please don't. But I would really appreciate it if you didn't. I will play a Watershed song later on in the show. The only one that I have 2 songs on my iTunes that are studio songs, and both of them are catchy as hell songs. That song, Black Bootleg Concert T-shirt, that's the best song on that Fags album, and I think it's super catchy. All right. I am drinking a fine Tecate, and I would like to thank everybody who donated to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I'm going to take a sip of this fine Tecate to you, friends. And I'm going to name you by names. I'm going to thank you personally by name. But before I do that, I'll need to find some music to play in the background. How about something that was sent to me by... who sent this to me? Let me get rid of the spinning beach ball here. This was sent to me by Chad Burns. Actually, Chad Burns did not send this to me, because that would have just been wrong. But Stephen Pearcy of Rat. He's got a new solo album called Smash. We'll play that in the background while I thank the donors. Have not heard this yet. See how it sounds. Little filler at the beginning. Oh, that's a good way. Okay, I'll do the filler while I'm talking up the names. There are several ways you can donate to the show, friends. You can go to Patreon, patreon.com/RNRGeek. Like some friends of the show have done. Getting off to a great start. Like Ken Kennedy, who donates $5 every episode from Patreon. All right, come on, Stephen Pearcy, get on with the filler. All right, here we go. Crazy for wanting you. I like his voice.
Yellow, green, orange and red.
Yellow, green, orange, and red.
All the colors going.
Head.
My head.
Get it? See?
Is that
Oh, we'll guess the rhyme while we thank the donors. Let's see.
a dream or something unreal? Do you really know when you've had enough?
You really know when you've had enough.
Comes a break.
You got to be tough.
Point, not so tough.
Not so tough. All right, one more round of guess the rhyme.
I know I'm living in a place that's so real.
Place that's so real. If there's a rhyme with it, I'm going to guess feel.
I know
Okay.
I'm crazy, but I must be crazy for wanting you.
It actually doesn't sound bad other than to guess the rhymes.
I know I'm crazy, but I must be crazy for loving you.
All right, one more guess. All right, one more round of guess the rhymes. We back it up just a little bit, and then we'll get on with the donor thanking.
All I see is in black and white.
All I see is in black and white. I don't want to fight. Fight.
Close my eyes and turn off the lights.
Okay, close my eyes and turn off the lights. All right. Thank you, Ken Kennedy, for the $5 every episode on patreon.com/RNRGeek. Thank you to my good friend Chiaki Hinohara of the Metal Moment podcast and the Japanese Metalhead Show. Chiaki came over to my house on Sunday. I went crabbing and caught a shitload of crab, and they came over for a crab feast. I went to Bodega Bay. The NorCal kayakers had a Crab Fest 2017. I got pulled over twice by a Harbor Patrol. Once, Harbor Patrol came up in the boat, approached me in a big huge boat, right up to my kayak when I was out in the water, and checked my crab, measured my crab, checked my license, and then they did it again. I will talk about that on Mad at Dad, but yeah. So I got a bunch of crab, and Chiaki came over, and we had a crab feast. But thank you, Chiaki Hinohara, for the $5 every episode. Thank you to Brian Springer for the $5 every episode on patreon.com/RNRGeek. I like that song. Let's see the next song here. 10 miles wide, man. I think these songs are kind of catchy. That's a little bit like Round and Round, isn't it? All right, thank you to Dave Slusher, my podcast mentor and co-host of Mad at Dad. Every Monday, or just about every Monday. We're getting back next month, a week from yesterday. I kind of like this Stephen Pearcy. I'm going to have to give this a better listen. Thank you to Bette Wood for the $3 every episode. Thank you to Dan P. for the $2 every episode. Thank you to Mario Zoth, Zothy9 on the Rock and Roll Geek forums on the Facebook page, which is, by the way, a political free zone on the Facebook Rock and Roll Geek page. Anybody who posts politics on that will get ejected. All right. Thank you to Bruce McMillan for the $2 every episode. Thank you to Matthew Hunt, fellow kayak brother. All right, I think he's a kayak brother. Thank you to Eric Stowell, $2. Matthew Hunt, thank you, friend. Thank you to Eric Stowell for the $2. Thank you to Robert Harvey for the $2. Thank you to Jon Richardson for the $1. And thank you to Corey Koehler for $1 every episode. Now, find another song. You can also donate. Shut Down, baby. A little slide. Aerosmith.
Shut down, baby.
You can also donate on PayPal. There's a link at rockandrollgeek.com, like Peter Spark. Thank you, Peter Spark, for the $2. Thank you to John Boveri for the $5. Very Aerosmith.
I met a girl with diamonds in her hair.
Let's see, how about Lollipop? All right, thank you to Tim Smith, new donor, Tim Smith, friend of the show. Also have an audio comment from Tim Smith for the $15. Thank you to Michael Mack for the $2, friend of the show. Thank you to Michael Street for the $5. And also thank to Michael Street for sending me this great book called Sea Kayaker, Deep Trouble, True Stories and Their Lessons from Sea Kayaker magazine. It's stories of these people who got into trouble out at sea on their kayak and how they could have avoided it. Lessons learned. I'm looking forward to reading it. I've already cracked it open. I'm just getting into it. I'm about into the first chapter now.
When you take just a little, it's
Thank you to Patrick Shanahan for $20. Thanks to David Ivey for the $5. Thanks to Jeff Thieleke for the $10. This song's kind of lame. How about Dead Roses? Motherfucker! I'm gonna back that up here. Hold on a second.
Motherfucker!
Yeah! Thanks to Jeff Thieleke for the $10. Thanks to Paul Fonderie for the $10. Thanks to Adrian Boschan in the Rock and Roll Geek forums. Thanks to John Tennis for the $5. Thanks to Greg Long for the $5. Thanks to Dave Franco for the $10. Thanks to Jeff C.A. for the $5. Thanks to Dean Gillespie for the $5. Thanks to Eric Lentz for $5. Thanks to James Venners for the $10. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for the $5. Thanks to Elodie Johns, my first girlfriend, for the $25. Thanks to Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name, for the $2. Thanks to Richard Fusey for the $2. Thanks to Richard Strom for the $5. Thanks to Andrew Howe for the $5. Thanks to Dale Roller for the $5. Thanks to Dale... Slow down. Thank you to Jason Shepard for the $10. How about Hit Me With a Bullet? Hit me with a bullet, motherfucker. Speaking of Hit Me With a Bullet, I went to see... I'll talk about Vane in a few minutes here. I went to see Vane and Slaughter, but I'll talk about them in a second.
Don't you even try. Think of what you're doing. Open up your eyes. I'm a machine gun power pack.
Yeah, I kind of like this. Thanks to Christopher Del Grande for the $5. Thanks to Jer O'Carroll for the $5. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for the $5. Again, Kelly Mitchell, second donation. Thanks to Todd Cunningham, friend of the show and friend of mine, for $10. Thanks to John Offenlock for the $5. Thanks to Jeffrey Canaparoli for the $2. Thank you to Lassie Satveghagen for the $2.
Don't you even try. Think of what you're doing. Time to realize.
Thank you to Stephen Mascord for the $5. Thanks to Michael Street again for the $5. Thanks to John Skiller for the $2. Thanks to Bradley Lisco for the $10. Thanks to Ralph Miller, friend of the show and friend of mine, for the $10. Thanks to Brett Garsky for the $5. Thanks to Bradford Page for the $5. Or excuse me, for the $2. Thanks to Craig Vasiloff for the $5. Thanks to Thomas Olson for the $5. Thanks to Sigmund Heidacher for the $5. Thanks to Chris Stanley for the $10. And finally, thank you to Dave Jackson in the School of Podcasting for the $10. Thank you to everybody who donated to the show. Without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled, dying in a kayak, overboard death. We'll let this run out. I kind of like this.
I'm looking for the girls of the line, and I'll be doing fine. Don't care for continental. It's time to douse the lights. Hit me with your bullets. You open up your eyes. Think of what you're doing. It comes as a surprise. Hit me with your bullet. Hit me with your bullet. Hit me with your bullet. Open up your eyes.
All right. Speaking of this book that Michael Street sent me, he sent a note with this book as well. Might as well get the hate mail out of the way here first, or some of the hate mail. Hey, Michael, I just sent you a book on dangerous experiences kayaking. The reviews I read about this book were all positive as I'm driving to work listening to Mad at Dad and Rock and Roll Geek. I live vicariously. It's really not a hate mail. It's actually a good mail, but I live vicariously through you on your kayak adventures. While I burp up this fine Tecate, I am very tempted to only refer to you as Slick from here on out. Yes, I said this on Mad at Dad, but as I was almost stranded out in the water, dying a horrible putrid stench-filled death, these guys on a boat came up to me and said, "You gonna make it there, Slick?" So yeah. And I just said under my breath, "Fuck you," and paddled my ass off. All right. Once my tax refund gets direct deposited in a few weeks, I will make a co-host donation. Get ready for a show worse than the groupie episode. Okay, we'll see. I'll admit I checked out after 10 minutes on that one. Sounds like it only got worse after that. I looked her up. At least she was smoking hot. Don't know how the co-host thing works. Fill me in the details later. So what you do, stay frosty, my friend Michael Street. So you just send me $100. There's a PayPal. If you click the link, the donors link on the show notes at rockandrollgeek.com, there's different levels of donation. And if you donate $100, you can co-host the show. So we'll get on Skype, or if you come out here, you can come over and sit in my studio. And you can program the show. It will be your show, and I will be your sidekick for $100. If you donate like $200 or $250, I forget how much it is, but you can come over. I'll cook you dinner, and you can drink a shitload of my Tecates. I'm losing my voice already. So there you go. Thank you, Michael Street, again for the book. I might as well get into a audio comment here. Oh, good. Production.
Sloopy, hang on. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Sloopy lives in a
I'm not sure if this is the entire song or not.
And everybody, yeah, tries to put my Sloopy down.
Okay, all right. I'm going to fast forward through this.
Secondly, do you know
wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, it doesn't go the whole song. Okay.
Hello, Michael Butler.
Hello.
It's Tim, the rock and roll runner in Ohio.
Hello, Tim.
How's it going?
Super great. Could not be better. Thank you for asking, friend.
Good, good, good. Great to hear.
Yes.
All right, so the question for you is,
Uh-huh.
did you know, or do you know what?
Yes, I do. But I have not listened to this comment yet, but I know what he's going to ask me. He's going to ask me if I know that Rick Derringer played that song.
Group sang that song? And secondly, do you know
It's the McCoys, and Rick Derringer was in the McCoys.
the fairly famous lead singer of that song? I'll give you a moment, if
Okay.
you haven't said it already, to think about it.
Okay. Rick
The
Derringer.
answer is the McCoys sang that song,
Ding,
and Rick
ding.
Derringer is
Ding,
the lead
ding.
singer of that song. So this came about because, believe it or not, I saw Rick Derringer in concert, and I have to apologize because I saw him way back on like July 2nd, so I'm about 6 months behind on this.
There's
Review.
an album, Rick Derringer Live, which I should pull down and do a vinyl track of the week very soon. Maybe I'll do it on this episode. But there's a great live album from Rick Derringer called Rick Derringer Live. He's rips.
The interesting thing is I saw him for free. He came and did a local show in the town where I live, which is Middletown, Ohio. So it was kind of their July 4th show with some fireworks and stuff like that. And I did some investigating on Wikipedia about Rick Derringer, so there's a lot of interesting things about this guy. First of all, he was born Rick Zeringer with a Z. It wasn't until 2007 he changed his name to Derringer, by the way, officially. The song Hang On Sloopy came out in 1965. You probably remember it as a kid. I do too. We were both about 3 years old, but I remember the song.
I used to play that song in Stevie Stiletto. We covered that tune.
He was only 17 when he sang it. It was actually he sang over a track that had already been put down by a group called the Strangeloves. So he just came in just to do the singing. And it went to number 1 for 1 week. The Beatles yesterday kicked it out of number 1. Also, that song is the official rock song of the state of Ohio. And I believe Ohio is the only state with an official rock song. And part of the reason is Rick Derringer is from Ohio. Okay. He's actually from a town about 60 miles north of where I live now. I'm just north of Cincinnati.
Oh, and so I'll bet, Tim, I bet you know Watershed then, because they're from Columbus, which is probably close to Cincinnati. Maybe you send me all that Watershed if you have any of it.
Concert, he kept talking about this amusement park he used to play at, which is just south of where I live now. So he's got this Ohio connection, obviously. And anyway, the guy has, obviously he left the McCoys to become his own person and record his own music.
Well, actually, he played with Rick Derringer and with Edgar and Johnny Winter.
Some of you or all of you will know about. But he also has done a lot more than I ever knew that he did. For example, he recorded with Johnny Winter and Edgar Winter. I didn't see this, but I think he was on Frankenstein. He may have done the guitar solos or was in that.
Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. He wrote Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, and Johnny Winter covered it as well.
But I think he was on that. He also played with Steely Dan. He also played the solo in Alice Cooper's Under My Wheels.
I did not know that.
He also played with Todd Rundgren. He also played the solo on Weird Al Yankovic's Eat It. Remember the parody of Beat It? Yes. And he did a lot of other stuff, too. For example, he was in Ringo Starr's All-Star Band in 2010. He has had a few problems. He's kind of a big right-wing guy now, but he's defaulted on some loans on homes in Florida and stuff like this. So he's had his issues, of course, which can happen. So a little bit about the set list. And, of course, he's not only a singer, but he's a guitar virtuoso.
I hope he played Uncomplicated.
He's famous for. So I don't have the whole set list here, but everything in here are songs either he recorded or he was in on. So people will recognize a lot of these songs. So he did play Free Ride.
Come on and take a free ride.
Classic, great song. He played Hang On Sloopy, which both these were great. Then he went into some right-wing rant. So like I said, he's a big right-wing. And he started crying about how people can't do the Pledge of Allegiance in school anymore, which is odd because I'm a substitute teacher and they always do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Did he do Teenage Love Affair and Let Me In? Let Me In's a great one. Still alive and well.
On about that. And so then he proceeded to do the Star Spangled Banner, kind of like Jimi Hendrix, but it was really bad. I didn't even know that's what he was playing till he was about halfway through the song. So it was like it was out of tune, and it was very strange. He then did another like patriotic song, which I didn't know. It was called Real American. And I guess Hulk Hogan used this as his introduction music when he came on to Out to Wrestle or something like that. I didn't know that one. Then there were some horrible bass and drum solos, some boring instrumentals. So that was a good time to go get a beer, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Then he played Frankenstein. That was fantastic. And Rick Derringer's biggest solo hit, I would guess, he played Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo.
Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo.
He also played Living in the USA. That's a Rick Berry.
Living in the US. That's
Chuck
not a
Berry
good one.
cover. You would recognize it if you heard it. So that was most of the
no Let Me In, no Teenage Love Affair, no Uncomplicated.
I mean, the guy can play guitar, except for that weird Star Spangled Banner. The guy.
Come on, listen to this. Listen to this song. Listen to this song. Oh. I won't bore you with it too long. I'll get it to the chorus. Uncomplicated. Great chorus. All right, back to you, Tim Smith. I like Rick Derringer's old stuff.
Kicked ass on guitar. It was really
He's
cool.
a ripping guitar player.
And, you know, those few big hit songs are really fun to watch. I did try to record it on my iPhone, but the volume or the sound was horrible. So the Hang On Sloopy you heard, I actually bought from iTunes for 99 cents. Just to put it in this show review.
Thank you, friend.
Anyway, that's it for Rick Derringer. It was pretty fun. Definitely worth seeing, considering it was a free show. It didn't cost anything, so it was a blast. Had a good time.
Price was right.
And it's just interesting reading and knowing more about Rick Derringer. I didn't know most of any of that I had said. Just a few other notes. Your episode with Shanti, I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh, good.
What made it more funny was she's kind of really full of herself, and although she does sound pretty hot and all that, but she's also kind of full of herself. And
okay, I better go back to his email. He sent me an email retracting that about Shanti being full of herself. Let me find his email. Or Tim Smith. Okay, let me find Tim's email here. He retracted. He doesn't say she's full. Let me hold on a second. All right, I found the email. It goes, during the review, I mentioned Shanti and said something like she was full of herself. I feel bad about that now. That's not what I should have said. So if you think she's listening, feel free to read this from me, okay? In case Shanti's listening. Dear Shanti, this is Tim Smith talking. PhD, by the way, according to his email signature. Dear Shanti, please forgive my comment in the review. It was rude on my part and untrue. What I should have said was that you were just a very enthusiastic... Yeah, were you... I can't read. What I should have said was that you were just a very enthusiastic about your groupie lifestyle, and there is nothing wrong with that. I agree with you, Tim. There's nothing wrong with that. Back to you, Tim.
That made it kind of funny, so I enjoyed it. Also, you mentioned...
I like Shanti. She's very positive, and... in her defense, she's way younger than me and probably a lot of the friends of the Rock and Roll Geek show, so I can't expect her to know. I mean, I didn't know all of her music. She didn't know mine. So we come from two different lives. But she's got the spirit of rock and roll. She loves music. She loves the guys that play music. And what can be wrong with that, friends? I blame myself for the If it was not a good episode, I take all the blame because she was great. I sucked.
I have mentioned a couple of times now about going back and playing older episodes. I would really encourage that, especially anything more than about 5-6 years old. I've been listening for maybe 5 years, but you probably have a lot of older episodes. You could probably be playing an old episode about once a month.
I think I'm going to start doing that, actually. I'm going to start doing Rock and Roll Geek reruns because Mevio deleted all the old episodes, and I have to repost them. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to do the interviews first, I think. Maybe I'll repost the Susie Quattro interview next. That was a good one, I think.
And I'm sure that would take you years to get through a lot of old episodes. So I would encourage you to play some old episodes. I think we would all enjoy that. Also, for this show review, I'm going to make another donation.
Thank you.
So be looking for that.
Thank you.
Two final other things. I also saw ZZ Top this last fall, and I was going to do a show review of that. To be totally honest, and I hate admitting this, it was a little bit of a downer. It just wasn't quite as good as I thought. They played the songs fine.
You gotta watch Billy Gibbons play. That guy is just a monster guitar player.
Straight up, not a whole lot of talking between songs.
No,
And
they
all
don't
that
talk.
was okay, but it just wasn't as vibrant as I wanted. You know, a lot of bands, when you hear them on stage, they're bigger than life. You know, there's so much more to it than what you get on the albums. And with the ZZ Top, it was a little bit the other way. You could really feel that they don't have enough people on stage. They could use some backup singers. They could use maybe someone on a keyboard or something. I don't know what it is, but it was just not quite there. It was still good. I enjoyed it. I'm fairly glad I went, but it wasn't everything I had hoped for. And it's pretty pricey, too. I paid like $65 and didn't exactly feel like I got my money's worth out of it. So anyway, maybe if I was a little closer to stage, it would have been better. I wasn't super close. Sometimes that makes a big difference. The very last thing is, I will be in California at the end of June, only for about a week, I think. However, there's a small chance I will be there for about a month. I'm trying to work that out. There's a long explanation for this. If I am there for a month, I'm really hoping to get to the Bay Area and you and I can have a beer.
Exactly.
And maybe if you have a Butler show or Feather Witch, I will come out and watch. That is my hope. I'll be with my wife and daughter. They probably won't want to come, but they can go do their own thing. But it'd be great to sit down and have a beer and chit-chat.
I will invite you and your wife and your daughter over to my house for dinner. What do you think of that, Tim Smith? We'll have a feast at my house, okay?
Although I'm like you, I'm very introverted in person, but maybe if you get a third person, then it'd really be cool.
Chiaki.
Because once there's 3 people, I'm a lot better off than there's just 2 people. You probably understand that. Anyway, keep up the great work and stay frosty.
Thank you, Tim Smith. You too can call in and leave an audio comment or show review or tell me how bad an episode sucked. He didn't say that. Area code 706-621-ROCK, or you can do like Tim Smith did and email it to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. I mentioned I went to see Vane, I think 2 weeks ago. Dave Benda, friend of the show and friend of mine, got press passes to see Vane and Slaughter in Santa Rosa. Joel, the guitar player for Featherwitch, is playing guitar for Vane, and I wanted to go up to support Joel anyway. And we got in free, and the tickets were normally like $50. So I went up there with David Bender to see Slaughter and Vane. I don't know Slaughter from, I know just that song that I played on the Lost Rockers episode where that guy sang in Slaughter, or was it Slaughter? No, Vinnie Vincent Invasion, but Mark Slaughter took the guy's place. Anyway, so Vane was really... Sorry, my voice is cracking. Vane was really good, actually. The singer, a little silly with the bare feet and leather pants, but he had a good sense of humor, and Joel rips on guitar. And I was surprised they had really good songs. Their songs were extremely catchy. And Slaughter had this fucking drummer that I have never seen anything like. Turns out Slaughter's Mark Slaughter's backup band is Vince Neil's backup band. What's the bass player's name? Who's that bass player for Slaughter? Oh, I don't know all these guys. You know who I'm talking about. Oh, the guy who's been in the band forever. Anyway, he's the bass player. He's normally in Slaughter, but he's also the bass player for... I don't know why I can't think of this fucker's name, but that same bass player, but he plays in Vince Neil's band, some guitar player, but this drummer also is the drummer for Vince Neil's band. This guy was insane on the drums. I have never seen anything like this drummer. He pounded the shit out of the drums. Real showman, man. He was really, really fun to watch. So if Vince Neil or Slaughter comes to your town, check them out just for this drummer dude. I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him except that he is a fantastic drummer. I mean, he was just insane. I don't know how technically fantastic is, but he is really, really a lot of fun to watch. He does some shit on stage that I've never seen, man. But so, yeah, it was a good show. Slaughter and and Vane. I didn't stay for the entire set of Slaughter because, like I said, I'm not a big Slaughter fan. But Vane was really good, and that drummer was worth the price of admission just to see. All right, what else do I? Well, I might as well play another song now. Let me get back into the Rock and Roll Geek Rock and Roll Geek Show playlist here. What else do I have lined up to play? I'm going to play something now from this band called Wyldlife. They have a new album coming out really soon, and I can't wait for it to come out. Is it out already? I don't think it is, because Casey pre-ordered it, and he was going to not you send that to me. But this is they have a video of this song. It's a really fun video. This band is called Wyldlife. This song is called Contraband. Wyldlife. Now this is ripped. Okay, right. This is ripped from the video, so I don't know if this is what's in the record. All right, there you go. Wyldlife. Okay. Stop. Okay. I'm reading an email I got. I might as well continue this email here. This is from a guy, JF1, who sends me a lot of emails, which I don't always, I usually don't read them. So maybe I'll never read any more after this one. We will see, but let's see. Okay, where's the first email here? I asked him to follow up. So I'm catching up on your shows. It would be cherry if when you do interview shows, you compress them to 64:24 versus the usual CD rip quality. I don't know why he wants me to compress them down to 64:24. I don't even know what that was because that's the encoding. That seems like a low encoding for me to have music, and maybe he thinks, I don't know why, but 200, I usually do it at 256, which is a higher quality. It's not that big of a file, so I don't know the reason he wants me to rip it down so low. So, but I'll take that into consideration, JF1. And he goes, I sent a link to your Bowie show to my pal Stretch, who disliked your show before, and he replied, the last set of put downs proved to be powerful stuff on the show when you read the bashing out on your show. It put you under some stress, but you met it well. Apparently his buddy, Stretch, can't stand my show. He was a college DJ or something, and he can't stand my show. And I told him to tell his friend not to listen to my show anymore. It put you under some stress, but you met it well. But it'll be interesting to read the history of it with you and Stretch. First he said this way back then, now he's saying this. Okay, so he followed. I asked him to send me what the history was, and he said, bashing funny listener of mine who hosted a college radio show at 3 a.m. said your show is, in the last bashing, was too unprofessional. This time he was mercifully brief, reacting to hearing your celebrating Bowie show. Stretch says his guess was interesting, but I still don't like Michael Butler. I have all those Riker re-releases and they're all great, still with me today. I get most of them as blah, 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 blah. He didn't like me. He said he just does not like. And I'm going to tell you again, JF1, tell Stretch, he is banned from listening to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. You are banned, Stretch. And what, by the way, what kind of name is Stretch? All right. Enough of that. Still, I defied your plea on air. Please don't share my show with this guy you asked. Reasonable request. Am I a misguided a-hole fan? Rip into me if you need to, but for me sending it, no bash. All right. That's enough. Enough. He sent me a bunch of links to other stuff, which I'm not going to read. Thank you, JF1, for the email. You too can send me some hate mail. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Thank you for bumming me out again, damn it. All right. I think I'm going to, now that he bummed me out, I was going to read another. Zach Erlocker. Okay, I gave it a shot. You got a groupie who wants to tell stories in the podcast. Sign me up. Sounds awesome. That's all I'm going to read of that. I'm not going to bum people out. Needless to say, people did not like me interviewing Shanti. I still think Shanti's show is great, and it's my favorite new podcast. So it's my new favorite podcast. So I'm a loyal listener of Shanti's podcast, which is called Muses and Stuff. I will keep listening. If you see me have her back on the show, you can feel free not just to skip that episode, friends. All right. David Lee Roth was sued by a landscaper over an alleged dog bite. That's a nice story. Shall I read that? According to TMZ, David Lee Roth has been sued by a landscaper claiming to have been bitten by the Van Halen frontman's dog. Timothy Salinas said he was doing maintenance work in the yard of David Lee Roth's house in Pasadena last June when the rocker's Australian cattle dog suddenly attacked him and bit him on his lower left calf. Salinas claims his boss told him he would lose his job if he reported it. David Lee Roth disputes Salinas' claims, telling TMZ through his lawyer that he hired the landscaping company, not Salinas, and said Salinas waited 47 days before going to the hospital. You're going to wait a minute. You get bit and you go to the hospital 47 days after. The hospital probably laughed you out of there, didn't they? Unless it got infected or something. I don't know. All right, I'm just on blabber. Okay, on blabbermouth. Furthermore, the rocker says, he only found out about the alleged incident after Salinas made an insurance claim. All right, you can see the alleged injuries at TMZ. Let me go at TMZ here. David Lee Roth, sued by Gardner. Your dog really got me, it's what it says. David Lee Roth's dog allegedly took a bloody bite out of a landscaper, but the former Van Halen claimed at worst it was a small nip. The landscaper Timothy Salinas says he was doing maintenance work, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Ed McPherson, David Lee Roth's lawyer, says the whole thing is nothing more than a celebrity shakedown, although pics of the alleged attack look pretty gnarly. All right, I'm looking at the alleged attack. It's a nip. He got nipped on his leg. Well, let's hope David Lee Roth doesn't have to pay the guy too much money. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to play a song and get the hell out of here. Something about that guy's emails always seem to ruin my fucking day. Damn you, Stretch. All right. Enough of that. an email from one more email from friend of the show, Todd Cunningham. See if I can find his email. I just heard, hey Butler, I just heard this song after seeing it on Ginger's Twitter page. As you know, this guy is the guy who Ginger did this Fuck This Brain song with. Ginger did a single called Fuck You Brain. It's with all benefits going to antidepressant stuff with a guy named Ryan Hamilton. And Todd sent me this song by Ryan Hamilton and the Traitors. And I'm going to play that song to close out the show. I really like this song. I just listened to it once after Todd sent it to me. I just found the take as I was going through the emails that are tagged Rock and Roll Geek. And I like this song. So I'm going to play this for you. Please, if anybody has any watershed, please don't send me those. And tomorrow, I'm interviewing Steve Conti again. He's coming on the show. We're going to do a track by track of his covers album. Hopefully that'll be fun. We'll find out what's going on with Michael Monroe when the new Michael Monroe's coming out and how the songwriting is going on that. I'm talking to him tomorrow, so expect that episode to come out on Thursday. Probably Thursday. Thank you for listening to this episode, friends. I had to get back on the horse after the episode that nobody liked except for me and Tim Smith. And this one just happened to be even worse, friends. All right, enough of that. All right, here is Ryan. What's his name? Ryan Hamilton and the Traitors. Let me tell you, I can reach me first. You can find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. You can find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Man, that guy's hate mail just bums me out every fucking time. Do me a favor, JF1. Don't send me any more of that motherfucker's shit again. Find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek, don't ask. Find this show at rockandrollgeek.com. I'm going to go put a bullet. No, I'm not. I'm going to go read my Sea Kayaker book, and I'm going to have some beers and post this episode. We will talk to you tomorrow, friends. I'm going to be interviewing Steve Conti, so that'll be fun. Here's Ryan Hamilton and the Traitors. We'll talk to you next time, friends.
A beauty, check us out, we're on our way. She knew she wanted to be famous, it appears that it's contagious, yeah. All we need is one big break. So we headed west to Hollywood, but can't afford the neighborhood, and this is what she had to say. She said, it's my way or the highway, what can I say? Guess it's time to get me on the freeway. You can take a taxi or the subway. See you next Tuesday. We all know I'll be leaving soon anyway. Now it's feeling sort of like a getaway. I think this has potential for a screenplay. We never should have moved to LA. My high school sweetheart, the making of a superstar, she begged me, come back to LA. She said, I'm lost without you, honey, and she'd run out of money, but my baby made a big mistake. You see, I wanted to get even, so I guess I best be leaving. I can't wait to see her face. She said, honey, how I've missed you, and I can't wait to kiss you. Guess what I said? I said, it's my way or the highway, what can I say? Guess it's time to get me on the freeway. You can take a taxi or the subway. Don't
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.